What were you hearing from the schools down there yesterday with these moves? We got the Florida governor talking about, yeah, let the professional teams come on down here. What are you hearing from around that part of the country with regard to the college game?
Yeah, they're still proceeding as if they can try and have some sort of normal football season. And I say normal, basically talking about the new normal. So obviously things will be a little bit different. But Greg Byrne, who I spoke to last week, the Alabama athletic director you just heard there, said that they're planning to have football season start on time and then to have fans in the stands as normal, to be open as they would imagine otherwise, not even practicing necessarily social distancing unless they are told that that's the best way to do it. They, of course, are being consulted by many medical experts in all of this. And then Florida is in a even more different scenario where they could see gyms opening in the state in the next couple of weeks. And so Dan Mullen, Florida's head coach, said that he thinks that that means maybe they'll be able to open their weight rooms sooner than they might have thought otherwise, which means then they can have players back on campus. That is the discussion in at least that part of the country as far as the SEC goes, and maybe even some ACC schools as well. It's so regional in all of this, and at this point, Greeny, they're not really worried about some places having a competitive advantage over others. It's just, how can we bring football back sooner rather than later?
Paul, I'm told that Greg Byrne also said this morning that he anticipates, as of now, that the game between Alabama and USC, scheduled for September 5th, will be played as scheduled. What is your belief as far as that game?
That game's not going to be played, and I understand why he has to say that, Greeny, because no one wants to say something absolute like right now. We saw what happened in California the other day, so it's hard for me to believe that if the county of Los Angeles is going to be shut down for the next couple of months, that Southern Cal is going to be ready to play that game. And quite frankly, I don't think Clay Helton wants to play the game anyway, because he's going to get run over badly. But what this comes down to really is an issue of safety and politics. It's just like the debate going up and down the dial about reopening the economy. Some states want to do it quickly, some want to pause. It's the same issue in college athletics, and especially in football, where money is driving this conversation. A couple of weeks ago, nobody wanted to play without fans. Nobody wanted to play without students on campus. Now suddenly everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people are moving in that direction, because the overriding issue here is that if college football does not happen this fall, a lot of these university athletic departments are going to go broke.
Let me get John Vilma into the conversation here. And John, because I covered your whole career, I still think of you as a player sometimes. If you were a player in college football right now, what sorts of questions would you be asking? What would be your concerns about the possibility of playing this year?
I'd want to know where the NCAA stands on California saying that they're not having any public gatherings and schooling. Where does the NCAA, who is supposed to be governing all of college athletics, where are they on this topic? Where is their stance right now? You know, this is a perfect opportunity for the NCAA to take a stand and to show their leadership. Because if I'm a player, if I want to transfer, if I want to sit out because I'm not comfortable playing, either way, I'm going to have to file something, some sort of paperwork, and it's going to be sent over to the NCAA for their approval. So I need to know where they stand on everything that's going on, and I would love for them, the NCAA, to come out and be vocal about where they are in the process, how far along they are in the process. If such and such happens as far as states opening schools back up, then these schools are allowed to play, or if they're going to say, clean sweep of no schools are going to be allowed to play, or it's going to be regional. Like, I need to know from the governing body, who I'm eventually, as a player, I'm going to eventually have to deal with in order to be able to play, in order to be able to transfer, in order to be able to have my eligibility.
Well, let's use the word transfer here. And Laura, let me come back to you, because in the notes, and we're considering the possibilities, particularly out west in the Pac-12, where the Cal State school system has already announced that they will not have their students on campus in the fall. You used two words in the notes this morning as far as something we could start to see with regard to players coming east.
Yeah, and this is something that the NCAA, to John's point, and that has been discussed throughout all of this, would absolutely hate to see. It's the words that were told to me by a coach that said, look, we could see a mass exodus of players trying to just find an opportunity to play. And this doesn't just apply to the Pac-12. This could apply within a conference, let's say, that has 8 schools that can play and the rest that can't because of state restrictions. So you may see some of these players look to transfer, and that is being discussed right now. Now, it's a long way away from happening. I want to make that clear, but here's how it looks as far as transfer rules are in place right now for immediate eligibility, because that's the key here. This doesn't make any sense unless you can be immediately eligible to play. And you can see on there, I think the most important piece of these rules right now, as the NCAA has them, is that you would have to receive some sort of waiver from the school and permission from the school that you are currently at in order to go to a different place. And that just seems like it would be far-fetched at this point for that to happen. I can't imagine that, just to use an example right here, that Chip Kelly at UCLA is going to say, yeah, sure, my star players can go and play, somewhere in the ACC. They can go join Clemson at any time. That's something that just doesn't feel like it could happen. But as this continues to develop, who knows? And it has been brought up by many coaches on both sides of this, saying, wait a second, I don't want to lose any of my players. And then some other coaches saying, well, wait a second, what if we do see a scenario where some of our team gets infected with the virus, and then we're looking at trying to still continue to play? Who knows what that would even look like? But would we see expanded rosters? And how could transfers help, at least in that capacity? All of this is being thrown around. They're trying to keep safety as the foremost thing. But as we all know, money is a big factor in this too.
Paul, in so many different ways, I think a lot of us are coming to terms with just the enormity of the event that we are living through. And sometimes you focus on the day-to-day impact it's having on your life. And every now and again, I find myself stepping back and saying, wow, this is going to have an impact on our lives going forward that I think I haven't fully considered. How do you think, or what do you envision the impact of it on college football looking like?
I think you're 100% correct, Greeny. And we sit here and debate which professional team or which college football program should come back. But this is a much bigger issue. This is an issue facing the entire world. And I think that's why this is such a difficult debate. And I really don't think we're going to know for a while.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.